Brendan, thank you so much for taking some time to join us in this summit. When I learned about Peter Ralston's work, it was really life changing because I feel like what it came down to for me as like, a recovering people pleaser, recovering from social anxieties, being able to relate to others, being able to relate to myself. I feel like such a critical piece of this is really, kind of dissolving of the ego and being able to see things from new and different perspectives, more of like you know, from more of a place of feeling comfortable with who you are and feeling good about yourself, right? And one of my favorite books, of course, is the Book of Not Knowing. And what I tell my clients is this is kind of the Bible,
Okay.
kind of the Bible of ego dissolving and growing consciousness and awareness. So, Brendan, would you mind introducing yourself? And I'm really curious how you got involved with Peter Ralston's work.
Sure, yeah. Hi, I'm Brendan Lee. And basically the story I tell is like when I was younger, I wasn't the happiest camper now, and basically unhappy, angsty kid, high school, and I was in essence like looking for more.
Mhm.
And how it occurred to me at the time, again, I don't know what I did, but it was something like out to the universe, like, hey, I'm looking for something. And then I was into some martial arts at the time, and I had a teacher, and he invited me to go see this guy, Peter Ralston, at a workshop in Rochester, New York. And it was like a martial arts, workshop. And I saw Peter. That's when I saw Peter for the first time. I was like 17. And I was like blown away, in essence, the way he could move, because I was into like more body stuff at the time. So just I could see that he could move differently. Also, the way he would speak about his subject matter, he was incredibly intelligent. And then there was like this other part that I saw. I was like, what? Like, something. And I was like, all right, you're my guy. And that's it. I don't know how I made that decision or why, but it was like, it seemed to happen pretty fast. I'm like, all right, fine. Where are you? You're in Texas. Okay. I'll see you there. And
Mhm.
basically the rest is history. Well,
Yeah.
it literally is history now.
Living history.
That's right.
Can you tell us about some of the topics he talks about and how it's helped you?
Sure. Let's see.
Like I know
Well,
he's a bit higher level, right? Like he's not like here's how to make, here's how to feel less anxious or here's how to lose weight. Like he doesn't niche down to these little topics. It's a little higher level, right? Talking about like what's going on a deeper level. Right.
yeah, you could, some of these things, sometimes it can be tricky. So like in terms of levels, as far as I can tell, like one of the traps that people might fall into is that they're like, okay, well, there's levels of consciousness, and then create a hierarchy in their mind, like, okay, one level is better than another level and all that stuff. So I try to avoid that as much as I can. That's
Mhm.
just a little preamble. But in terms of depth, it could perhaps talk in terms of depth, like his depth of understanding is large, to put it, what's that, understated. He's got like a huge depth of consciousness and awareness about many things, and also in many different domains as well, like say the martial arts, and also consciousness, like being conscious of what is and what experience is made of, so to speak. I know that's a little bit weird.
Mhm.
But so some of the things that he's said that have helped me, we would have to perhaps first define like what help is. It might
Yeah.
be useful. And the perspective I was coming from, or the perspective that I come from, that I hold, that is helpful to me, may be different than somebody else. And in terms of your question, like the stuff that helped me, he would explain things like one of the big areas where we would work is he would call me on my crap. Like I remember distinctly one time when I was an apprentice with him way back, where it's like he said, will you handle this for me? I said yes. I gave my word, and then I didn't follow through. And he called me, hey, you didn't keep your word.
Yeah.
What's the deal there? And oh, like that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that was a help.
I love that, integrity. I feel like I would say a lack of integrity is an epidemic today. And like that, I just
It
shot a
hurts.
video on
Yeah.
why, people struggle with consistency. And it's like, well, what happens when you don't? What are the consequences of not following through for yourself? Like, forget about others right now.
Yeah.
What happens? What's worse than that? Disappointment.
Yeah. And also the consequences of, like, if I, as we're heading down this road here a little bit, if I don't keep my word, then I can't trust my word. And there definitely, as you said, there are consequences. I don't trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if I don't trust myself, what do I think of myself as a human being? And not like in a moral sense, like this is good and bad, but literally, like if a wheel is crumpled, it doesn't run well. If a self says something and then doesn't do it, and those don't match, the self literally is in weakened. And then there's knock-on consequences, like I won't trust what I say. Other people won't trust me. They won't see me as powerful. Why? Because somebody who says something and doesn't do it, can you see them as powerful? I no. Like, how?
Yeah.
Say, for example, and then internally as well, there's other consequences. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do a talk on this in a couple of weeks. And one thing I ask people is like, if you knew that you broke a promise to yourself, if you knew that you would have to look in the mirror at the end of the day and you'd have to feel that way, feel that disappointment, would you make the same decision again? And most likely the answer is going to be no, right? Because what we've done is we've brought awareness, right? We've raised consciousness around how we're feeling in that moment versus like typically like, right, pushing things away or rationalizing how we're feeling or dismissing or disregarding ourselves. And I know that's a pattern that a large portion of our audience is struggling with, is like disregarding themselves, dismissing themselves, kind of rationalizing their pain away. And my goal with this interview series is really to help people build or rebuild or just build that connection that may have never even been there to themselves. And of course, going back to the book of not knowing, how, why might you recommend like Peter Ralston's work, or doing consciousness and awareness work to people who struggle with like limiting beliefs about themselves, or self-sabotaging habits and things like that? Why would you say like this is like an integral part of really healing the self?
Cool. Good question. I wouldn't. So I wouldn't say it is an integral part to healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely would not say that if you need to heal, do this work.
Mm-hmm.
However, guys, I know that might be a shock, like what? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. Hang in. I'll be there. And it does seem that there are some benefits. Like, in a weird way, we don't do consciousness work for the benefits that we're going to get out of it, because I'll try to keep this the short version, is like, if I am looking for benefits, then that means that whatever I am investigating, I will filter through what I think is valuable and beneficial to me, and it'll hamper where I look, in essence.
Yeah.
So the work itself is best approached in a free manner, like free from all of that stuff, because I need to be able to look anywhere, because the goal of consciousness work is to discover what's true, whether it fits in with what I believe or not, whether I like it or not, whether it heals me or not, which if I'm speaking to an audience that is interested in health, then that will be a huge consideration. Is it going to fix me? Now, that being said, there does seem to be a byproduct of a healthier relationship to oneself and one's own mind. And why? Well, it seems to me that the reason that can occur is that through investigating, through trying to discover what is, I can discover perhaps the nature of the unhealthy aspects of myself. In a certain sense, it's like, say you have a car and you're not a mechanic, and well, yeah, we'll do a car. That's fine. You have a car, it's broken down. You're not a mechanic. All you know how to do is to turn the key and push the gas pedal. Say that's all you got. So it's broken. My car is broken. Oh my God, I'm in crisis. All right. And then I might justify why I'm in crisis. Well, I didn't do this. I did it. I have excuses and blah, 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 blah. Okay, we take the excuses away and we're left with a broken car. Oh, crap. All I do is turn the keys, stomp the gas. Now, but what do I do? How do I fix this problem? Okay, I'll throw the car away and get a new, or no, I'll put a new paint job on the car. That'll do it. I'll just paint it and make it look good for everybody else and just pretend like the problem is, okay, eventually you find out that doesn't work. Anyway, as I ramble on, what to do? One option is to get into the car itself, grasp the nature of the car.
I love it.
You know, like, and usually we avoid problems or try to hide problems or try to pretend like problems aren't there. And then we judge ourselves for having the problem. And then we go through all these reactions and emotional trauma about what it means that we have the problem. And then we're like 20 years down the road in therapy and, oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah. You're just working on the content.
Right. And it's like, and it's just like turning the same stuff, but we never really address the real problem, which is inside of the place usually where you don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I would say that becoming conscious, you know, bringing it back to like, how can consciousness as if help, even though that's not what I'm about, to be clear, you know, I'm not about helping people. I'm about getting people conscious. You get conscious of what the problem really is. It may just turn out that the problem isn't something you're being, but something that you're doing. And then you can just stop doing it.
Yeah. You know, I remember watching one of your videos and I feel like you articulated it so well. And I tend to kind of talk about this in so many words. And you talk about, well, you know, much of this audience wants to, you know, transform the way they feel about themselves. And they do that by like trying to replace, you know, negative self-talk with positive self-talk, or like, let's replace one belief with another, right? But there's this problem there's this activity still going on. And you talk about this activity that you're doing in your mind, right? And this is why, you know, a lot of my clients come in here as a hypnotist and they're like, well, I tried positive self-talk, right? I'm going to look in the mirror and
Didn't
say,
work.
I got this, right? But there's this deep seating belief, or there's this deep feeling underneath that this probably won't work. And then because of that, there's a need for this ego boosting or positive self-talk or these affirmations or whatever you want to call it. And while those things can be helpful if you do them properly, right? You can change the qualities of how you talk to yourself. You know, are you kind? Are you gentle with yourself? What I love is like sort of the next level is like, well, just stop the activity altogether.
Yeah. So then it could be like, for example, if I have a negative thing about myself and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a real turd. So, but that's unacceptable. So I have to then prove, you know, oh my God, I do unturd like things. I am, you know, super clean. I clean my environment. I'm nice all the time. And I do all these things. And I'm really big on the positive self-talk, all to counteract that I think I'm a turd, you know, as if getting over it could look like, oh, I'm neither need to do this or this. It's like, it's turddom is irrelevant or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you talk, you know, like I said, a large part of this audience, there's this like compulsion to want to be nice, right? And I remember you talking about in one of your videos that there are consequences to being nice. Can you talk more about like some of these consequences of you know, just needing to be nice and needing to have everyone's approval all the time?
Yeah.
I know.
Sure can. Not that I've ever been a nice guy chronically or anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Some of the big consequences that I've discovered so far are, one, if I am constantly being nice, that means I have no substance that is solid in my own self. because I cannot take a stance
Yeah.
for fear of disrupting somebody else's mental emotional state, if you will. And so that means I live, say if I did this, I would live like an empty shell of a person, constantly having to put up a front, which means I am constantly lying in a sense about what's really going on with me, and pretend, and or lying or ignoring because what I have going on is not allowed to show up, or hiding, which means my self experience then is directed inward, as if, and smaller and smaller and smaller. And perhaps also it might even be threatening for somebody to get close to me, because if I really show up, well, I might not be the nice person anymore. I might hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not allowed to even show up in the world. And man, those are some of the consequences I've noticed so far. It's a pretty
Yeah.
rough experience. And a lot
Yeah.
of fear too.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're kind of walking around like this. Really, you're almost like ready. Your defenses are up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I had it, and then I might develop some super skills. Like, how can I talk to people and be like, hey, do you like me? Do you like me? Ding, ding, bingo! Look at me, I like this, and you like me, right? Good,
Yeah.
I'm safe. Ooh.
For like the next 10 seconds.
Sure, sure, and then on to the next thing, kind of like that. So those are some of the consequences I've noticed, and then as a byproduct, my self-esteem suffers. I don't see myself as strong. I'm never going to take a stand for anything. And especially if I want to be a high performer, I have to, or a leader of some kind, I have to be willing to like take a stand for something, whether it's comfortable for other people or not, as well. And that can be a challenge.
Yeah. One of the books that I recommend to my clients is The Untethered Soul. I don't know if you read that by Michael Singer, but he talks about basically how, like, imagine going through your life with like what I forget what they're called, but if you touch like a vine, you get prickle. There's like a sharp piece on the ends. Like if you pick up a rose, you know what I'm talking about? There's the sharp points on like a rose or like a vine.
Yeah.
And it's like you're walking around with all these sharp points all over, and you're really delicate. And if something so much as get close to you, you're like, ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Somebody says something, ouch. And people are either living in this way or they're not.
What do you mean?
Like people are either living in this way where like, ouch, everything, like I'm waiting for the next thing to hurt me, or they're just not. They're just like, hey, there's the pain, they're embracing it. There's the fear. I might not feel good about myself. I might get the feedback I don't want, but they do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was an interesting metaphor. So, you talk about finding depth and substance, or having depth and substance. And this really resonated with me because, a lot of my clients personally, they want more intimate connections. Like they really want that depth. I mean, who doesn't, right? Who doesn't want that type of connection where they can just be who they are at home everywhere else? They don't have to switch modes into this nice person, or here's the professional me, here's the friend me, here's the mother, here's the father, here's the daughter, all of these different roles that we kind of tend to take on. How do you feel like the work that you do and what you help people accomplish and learn can help us with these labels and these roles that we tend to take on? Or do we need these roles at all?
Yeah, well, let me ask you, because I don't know. When do you have it? What's your relationship to roles? Are you holding those as, or are people, or holding that as a bad thing to have roles? Or what's the relationship to roles? What you're calling roles?
Yeah. So, and I like that you pointed that out, right? Because the definition of a role will be different for everybody. What I find for a lot of people who are trying to be nice, right? Or they're, what we call people pleasers, or I need approval. is it's not that these roles are bad or good, but they end up being more self-destructive.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
when I'm overly nice, I tend to, avoid conflict.
Yes.
And because of that avoiding of conflict, I'm disregarding myself. I'm also manipulating and lying, right? A lot of people don't realize that being nice is also you manipulating yourself, and you end up manipulating others. How do you feel just like pulling back these layers, and what helped me about Peter Ralston's work was like I started to realize what I didn't know more than
Good.
anything. One thing clients say to me is they're like, well, I think what that person is feeling is angry towards me. Well, like, how do you know? How do you know what you don't know what someone's feeling?
Yeah. Did you ask them?
But even then, like some people don't know what they're feeling themselves.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know what's on their mind, that connection between them and themselves isn't even there. So even if they told you what they were thinking, how do you know that's really true?
Yeah. Is
And
that a
that
question you're,
I just want to you know ask you more, and if you could jump into more about like how not knowing and realizing what you actually don't know can really help transform the way you see yourself and uh, the way you relate to the world around you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
sure. Did you want me to go into roles? There's
Sure.
like still a question about roles, or did you want me to switch and go to the not knowing
Let's jump in
after
here. I think this is a little bit better.
the
Yeah.
not knowing part?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure, can do.
I know
So
I'm
what was
all
the question? Yeah, what was the question again? It's like how can not knowing
yeah, like
you ask it?
how do you feel like this work of really peeling back the layers of what and realizing you actually don't know all these things that you think you know.
Yeah. And then what about that?
How does bringing awareness and consciousness around what you don't know, how does that help you with things like breaking habits and changing limiting beliefs, and um how does that kind of dissolve all those things away?
Got it. Excuse me. It may not dissolve all those things away. So we can
Right.
start there. And then it doesn't, may not give you anything either. But then again, that's anyway, just saying the value thing, like be aware of the value thing. What the contribution I think not knowing really makes is one, as Peter says, and as I can vouch for in my own experience as well, is like, it's a fundamental aspect of your experience. Like already right now, I don't know anything
Yeah.
in a sense, like, and then what the heck, like that doesn't make any sense. All right, cool. Well, we don't know what I mean then. Good. There's some not knowing. We can start there, but like, I have a computer, right? I know that there's a computer in front of me. Now, something that helps break this up is like, well, in English, it's a computer. In Spanish, it's not computer. In Italian, it's not computer. So wait a minute. It's not the language we use. Okay, but it's like a sight. Okay, but sight is not what's there. That's seeing something. That's a function of my eyes. If I lose my sight, I don't have that. You see, so we're starting to like strip away reality as if, and then, well, is the thing that's there, is it the sound that it makes? Well, no, because that's a sound that it makes. If something else made that same sound, I wouldn't know what was there, for example. Oh, but the feeling, I feel it. Okay, but so you close your eyes, close your ears, touch it, and then touch something else that feels exactly the same way. Are you going to actually know the difference? No. So then now we start to see that even perception itself doesn't allow us to really know what's there.
Yeah.
And one can look around and notice, oh, wow, even like all of my knowing is the same as I don't know what's there, because the knowing is something that I'm as if doing. You see, and if you focus enough, shameless plug, hey, come do a workshop. We can get you into this real deeply. then that becomes, oh, like more real. And it is fundamental, and you can hear about this, and then it's also useful to check it out for yourself. I always invite people to validate what's being said. You know, am I telling the truth, or am I just shining you on? Basically, like, you figure it out. I'm going to make this assertion. So now that I've made the assertion that we actually don't know anything that's going on,
yeah,
the contribution that not knowing seems to make is like, that is a very powerful place to be, to discover then what is.
yeah,
Because if I am fixated on, I know what everything is, and that's solid, and that's real, and that's it, I'm not going to look into the matter, because it's a computer. Shut up, leave me alone. I'm done.
yeah,
But maybe not. So then what is that? And
yeah,
then I start to investigate. And then it seems to me that the contribution here is the ability to investigate. And also we stand on the possibility that you can become conscious of something you're not conscious of now, in a way that is non-intellectual. It's not even a feeling, say, and not even perception is also not even necessary for you to be conscious in the way that I'm speaking here. And then you can discover something, and those discoveries it may turn out, I don't know. It
yeah,
may turn out that some of those discoveries are freeing, or give one, or allow one, a capacity to recognize, oh, this thing that I thought was solid, it's not solid anymore. Oh, like, oh, I was doing this. I thought I had to do it. I don't. It's, oh, like,
yeah.
that kind of thing. Like we have a little joke here. It's like, say, why is my hand stuck to my face? Why is my hand stuck to my face? And they go on and on and on and on. And then at some point it's like, it's not.
Oh,
See,
I
these people,
love
like,
that.
they'll focus forever. It's stuck. It's stuck. Oh my God. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh,
Yeah. It's kind of like these concepts that we think that exist, like this concept or idea of self-esteem or confidence, or depression. Often clients come to me and they're like, I have depression, or I have self-esteem issues, right? And what ends up, people who are going down this path of how do I be more confident, or how do I fix my self-esteem, and how do I change how I feel about myself, what I kind of, crunch into like a small little nutshell for them really quick. And the path that I had to go down was spending years and years reading books about how do I be more confident? How do I put off this energy of more confident? How do I fix my self-esteem? How do I change my relationship with all these concepts and ideas, when they're just concepts and ideas and they don't really exist? They're not even tangible. You can't go pick up confidence. You'll never find time. Right. And what really, like, kind of, I feel like
go
accelerates.
buy me some at Walmart. I don't know.
Go buy me.
That's one
I'm
of my
like,
jokes. Can you go buy it at Walmart? I've never seen that. You ever seen a mind anywhere? They're on sale.
they're on sale. Yeah. I'm like, look under your seat. Do you see it? And they're like, what? Time.
Yeah. You're not going to find it anywhere. Yeah.
And the metaphor I use to tell people, like, to describe this to people is like, unfortunately we have to go down this path and watch all the YouTube videos and read all the books about how to be more confident to get to the top of this ladder and look down and realize confidence doesn't even exist.
Yeah, and something I wanted to add to what you're saying as well is that, going back a little bit to questioning and contemplating, it is possible, perhaps, I want to invite you and whomever is listening, is like, to discover what confidence is.
Yeah.
And discover, like, what self-esteem is, for example, because there do seem to be, like, consequences to, if I have a certain relationship to myself, the consequence could be low self-esteem.
Yes.
And yes, perhaps the nature of self-esteem is intangible. Like, we can't find it anywhere yet. And yet, for example, if going back to integrity, if I keep my word, there's a relationship between me keeping my word and my self-esteem going up.
Yes.
Say. And we can discover these, it's kind of like the workings of, like, how these things work. Mm-hmm. And how they're created. And consciousness can really help in the discovery process, like what we call contemplation, like looking into the matter and not knowing and questioning can really help us discover what those things are, how they function, how the dynamics get to exist, which might, and this is on the value, allow us the capacity to work with it in ways that we couldn't before.
Yeah. You talk about this phrase that I haven't heard before, but I think I have an idea of what it is, of this bottom line contemplation. And can you tell us a little bit more about that? Just like kind of like a quick summary, and like what does that look like when somebody does this contemplation? Like what might be they say to themselves, or what might that look like? And how does this contemplation help kind of peel back all these layers and like I said, maybe help somebody with self-esteem? That may not be the goal, but the goal here is truth, right?
Right. It's discovering whatever's true. And some, like we say truth, and then usually with the word truth, there's a lot of spiritual fantasy about what truth is. And I'm a truth seeker, and I'm a spiritual seeker of the truth, and da-da-da. No, I just mean literally whatever's true, so right. Like, stay away from it. No, I didn't say all that other stuff. No.
This true, not all other truths, that one.
Right. Oh, there's like, well, it's my truth and that's your truth. And I'm like, well, let's tell the truth about my truth and your truth, okay? Because if I have a truth, okay, I'm ranting a little bit. My truth is one way, your truth is another way. The truth is there's one way, then there's another. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So bottom line contemplation, you're saying basically what that is. And then again, if you want to, you can go, I have a YouTube channel. I have a video on this that may explain it more in depth. You're invited. It's okay. But it's basically bottom line. And again, trying to avoid the trap of like, it's a word. We use two words, bottom line. It could be Fred, as Peter would like to joke sometimes, or it could be grapes of wrath. I don't care. Whatever. That's a word that we use to explain something, a distinction. We make some distinction of like bottom line contemplation. And basically what it is trying to discover the source of what I have going on as a person. Say, now, for example, say I'm like constantly angry about something. And in psychology, as far as I can tell, people go down a road of like, okay, what's in your subconscious mind? Now, we don't go down that road. Like bottom line and subconscious mind, they're distinct, they're different, in this case. Unless somebody is saying subconscious mind is what I'm talking about, then they'll be the same. But in this case, I make a distinction between that. It would be like discovering the nature of what's going on with you such that your psychology arises the way that it does. Such that your feelings or reactions arise the way that they do, such that you would even have in your unconscious mind the stuff that you have, like that from which your perceptions are generated or your perspective is generated. So it's like discovering the source of your perspective itself, not from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah.
And then so what that might look like is somebody might have, usually the way we start, or I invite people to start, is you focus on a characteristic pattern of behavior that you have. Anything, whatever it is, usually focus on something negative to start, because there's usually plenty there. And you can do positive stuff too, but we don't worry about that. And it's like, say I'm angry all the time. Okay, wow, for some reason, when I go home, I see my girlfriend or whatever, my intimate partner, I get angry when they do this, and it's consistent. What's underneath the anger? So it's looking, rather than trying to fix the anger, rather than trying to solve the anger, I go, what's the anger about? Oh, it's their fault. But wait a minute. Okay, okay, I'm blaming them. It's your fault. I'm angry, but I'm still angry. Okay, what's underneath the anger? And if I look, just FYI, if you have anger, you're hurt. Anger comes from being in pain. So, ow, I'm actually in pain. What's the pain about? Oh, weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it and then starting to feel into the pain itself. Let it be there. Accept that it's there. Don't try to fix it or do anything about it. Investigate the cause of the anger itself. Yeah. And then I might have, oh, well, what happened when I was younger, excuse me, and da-da-da-da-da-da. No, that's a story. So that's like kind of going sideways into my past history. Okay, but I'm still in pain. Huh, so it's not the story about the pain, it's the pain. And then maybe I discover, wow, every time this happens, I feel like somebody's getting close to me and I'm scared, and then I'm hurt about that and I get angry to keep them away, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I'm actually scared of people being close to me. And then what's that about? This is strange. And then I might go, okay, then I focus on this sense or feeling sense of fear of people being close. And like, then I might ask the question, like, what's true of me such that I am afraid? Like, how am I built as a person such that if somebody gets close to me, I'm afraid, like I must really think I'm fragile or something, or breakable, or if somebody gets close to me, they could damage me or something somehow. And it's like trying to discover the core of the
pain,
where this pain and reactivity and stuff comes from.
Yeah.
And it's like in that direction.
I love that. Oh, I feel like you articulate that so well. And hypnosis, the work I do is just one way to get there, right? There's so many ways. Just contemplating alone can get you there. Reading a book alone can get you there, reading the right book. Things like acupuncture, even massage or Reiki, or any of these modalities that kind of help, like, just whatever's coming up, just bubble up no matter what it is. And one thing I like to point out real quick, and then we'll start to wrap up here, is when I have clients in here, when they're talking about whatever it is, like, let's say, like kind of along the same lines you were talking about, my spouse does this and therefore I feel angry, and they're getting angry in my office talking about it. They're just talking about it. Their spouse isn't here, but they're getting riled up. And then I point out, hey, how are you feeling right now? What's going on? Scan your body. And then they notice, well, I'm angry. And I'm like, yeah, your spouse isn't here. And notice.
Interesting.
Right? Like, so they're not the cause of the anger.
Yeah.
Or the fear or the insecurity, right? It's because what just happened? What were you just talking about? What were you picturing in your mind? What were you talking about on the inside, right? That's another rabbit hole to go down. But just that understanding and realizing, oh, this is coming from here, all of this from within my body. And that's such an insight. And I love that you brought that up, because that's really where this work can really, this is where your life can really start to change, is in this place of contemplation. So thank you for talking about that more, Brendan. And I'm so happy that you could join us in this interview series. And I do want to tell our audience about this free video course that you have. Can you talk more about this free video course, and then how to get that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Basically, I have a website, thebrendanlee.com, BRENDANLEA.com. BrendanLee.com was taken by a photographer in London. Anyway, you're welcome to come visit my website. I have a free course. It's called The Foundations for Effective Living. It's just a little something that I created for people to, well, essentially get your email address, because I want to build a list of people, and that's what I'm up to by giving you some value. So if you want to, you're invited. Check my website, and you can sign up. And or if you want to contact me, that's also acceptable.
Mm-hmm. We'll include a link for this video course. Okay. Who might this video course really benefit?
Good question.
That's everybody.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably that great question. I don't know. The people that usually come are like younger men between like 20s to 30s that are looking for maybe a little bit more, or they're looking for maybe, and I'm not excluding women, it's just women don't seem to show up, or maybe just not interested, and or I don't know. But it's like you're looking for perhaps ways to show up more powerfully in life. And also to start to work on being more effective in life at whatever you do. So the direction is toward power and effectiveness, and it's just laying the smallest foundation and opening up some possibilities. So if that's something that you need in your life, I think that course could at least help you in this small way.
Cool. Well, thank you, Brendan. And I know you have a retreat coming up in the
Correct.
spring. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. Let me see. I put some. information here. Yeah, so basically I live at a retreat center here in Texas, and I work with Peter Ralston to put on these, it's called the Spring Retreat, these workshops. And the workshops we have coming up this spring are the Experiencing the Nature of Being workshop. This is a 1-week event. The Transforming Your Experience of Life workshop, which is another 1-week event. And then the Insight and Enlightenment workshop, which is 1 week. And then after that, then we work on some martial arts, Art of Effortless Power. You do not need any prior martial experience for this. This will help get you in your body big time, no matter what background you have. But so here at the center, we have that opportunity that starts on April 2nd. And so if you're interested in that, go to peterralston.com/workshops, and you can learn all about that. And these are very powerful live-in events and done by a highly trained facilitator in person that will help move you in the direction of either consciousness or skill, in this case, like martial skill or skill with your body.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm already going to I'm so excited to send this out to my clients, and I'm sure the rest of the community and the other guest speakers community. And so like I said, we'll include the links below this video, and people can check that out and check out your video course. And, Brendan, thank you again for sharing your insights. I know I'm excited to hear more and hopefully talk in the future, but so thank you. And thank you to Peter for allowing you to be here as well.
Will do. I'll let him know. Great. Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you.